Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Mysterious Pals. My name's Chris, and this week, the old turtle shell himself is back. Jordan, welcome aboard to the Mysterious Express. Still cold, still frozen. I don't know. Means you're hard and beautiful. Hard and cute.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, turtles are cute, and they're hard shelled. I don't know.
Okay.
If there's one thing you could take from animals,
Hard and cute.
yeah. Is there one thing you could take from animals and make, part of your body? Would it be a turtle shell or would it be something else?
I don't think it'd be actually turtle shell would be pretty cool because you can just like kind of duck back in there and
That's what I'm saying. I mean, it's like you can have sharp teeth like a shark. That's stupid.
maybe like I don't know what body part of a monkey does this, but the agility of a monkey would be cool.
You mean our ancestors? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you could be agile.
I mean,
There
actually,
are humans that are agile.
Yeah, but not like monkeys are.
I mean, there are some very agile humans out there. There's not swinging from trees.
Yeah.
I mean, there's
gymnasts.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we could do that stuff.
Not
I think the thing with monkeys is like they go for broke. Like, they don't have like the I'm gonna fall and die. They don't have the fear. Like when they're swinging, from tree to tree, they're just very confident themselves. They don't second guess. I would imagine.
I mean, I don't know. I can't watch animal documentaries, so I couldn't tell you.
Not allowed? Like you've been grounded?
I'm not allowed to watch them.
Yeah, your mom said no?
No, I have a hard time watching those because anytime an animal dies in those, I'm like, I'm done. I can't do it. Don't want to do it.
I think most of them don't have animals dying.
They do, man. They do. They do the whole circle of life thing. We're like, this animal
I don't
died.
know. Maybe once in a while, but it's usually like,
I think most
like an antelope or something. You're like, okay, that thing deserved to die.
It's dumb.
Yeah, I hate those type of things.
I can't.
I mean, I even like, I think even in Planet Earth, like
they definitely had. Planet Earth definitely had that stuff. Where like an animal gets left behind because it doesn't stay with the herd, kind of thing, like or gets mauled. It's like, no, thank you.
I think very specifically in Planet Earth, there's an issue where there's one like wildebeest that like almost gets killed, but then it like gets away eventually. It gets like sliced up a little bit, but it still gets away. You know what? I'll take your word for it. I have the DVD somewhere around here for some reason.
You're doing a good job of compartmentalizing the bad and the good.
I don't care. I'll watch that stuff, especially the wildebeest or an antelope. I hate those things. Yeah, I hate those stupid things. I don't know. I mean, I don't want them to see like run over by a truck, but like animals,
of course not. And again, like I said, and it's a circle of life. Like this animal needed to die, so this animal can like stay alive. But like, I don't want to see that. I don't
Lions are way cooler than antelopes and stuff. I'll let them. If it was like an elephant, like I don't want to see those things get killed.
But you see what lions do with like getting rid of. So like a alpha male lion will get rid of his son if his son is threatened by his son. Will kill it or like cast it out. Like I don't want to see that. I don't want to see any of that.
Because Sigourney Weaver's telling you, it doesn't mean it actually happens. You didn't see what after the camera stopped. All right, Snowflake Jordan's here this week, everybody.
Shut up. Hey, yeah, if I'm a snowflake because I don't see animals dying, I'm good with that.
I'm not saying they should die, but I mean, And
I understand it's a circle of life. I get that. That's how life goes, but I don't want to see it.
I guess you're not hard and cute anymore. You're just
you're
like a slug now.
Soft batches are one from college would say.
Gooey. Yeah, I don't know.
Soft batch.
Soft batch cookie over there. Soft batch cookie this week. Thank you for coming aboard the Mysterious Express. This week, I'm going to be driving the train. Maybe run over some things on the tracks. Yeah, some antelopes or something on the tracks. I think. Do you think a giraffe's neck would be a cool addition?
I wouldn't want that.
No. Would you want like the girth of a bear? That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. Or maybe the claws of a bear.
I mean, just grow. Yeah. I mean, it's more the strength, I would say. I mean, you can grow out your nails. Yeah. I mean, we can make those. We can make some claws.
I don't think they'd be as
formidable.
Formidable, yeah.
I'm sure we can make some metal claws.
Yeah, sure we could.
Yeah. The brain of a human. Is that what you want?
Freddy Krueger.
I think that's what you want.
The brain of a non-snowflake.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be cool. I would love one of those for a friend. I think the what other animals would be like I don't think like a panther. I mean, I don't know, the swiftness of a cheetah or panther or something.
Yeah.
Puma.
I think the death roll that an alligator is alligator or crocodile that does those.
I think I don't know, but they both do.
Whatever
it is,
the ability to do that would be cool.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you something to get this show on the road here.
Do it.
Have you ever heard the saying, as above, so below?
Yes.
Do you know what that's from?
Ooh. Sounds like it'd be like a guy that wrote Moby Dick kind of thing.
The Moby Dick, what?
Yeah, that wrote Moby Dick. Herman Melville. It sounds like something he would write. I don't know.
Was that the guy that wrote the Three Musketeers?
No, it's Alexander Dumas.
Okay.
Herman Melville did Moby Dick. Sounds like something he would. Something to do with water.
I don't know who you're talking about, but I know Moby Dick.
We've talked about it before.
We've talked about Dumas.
Talked about Herman Melville when we did like the whole Summer Sea Monsters, which you go check out.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah. Summer Sea Monsters. Yes, last summer of 2024. Okay, so as above, so below. Actually, you're thousands of years off. We're going to talk about the Emerald Tablet.
I think I heard about it. It's something to do with alchemy. Is that right? Alchemy in there somewhere?
You hit the nail right on the alchemeric head. You really hit the nail on the head with that one.
Have you ever had a dream?
Yeah. So the Emerald Tablet is a cornerstone of Western esoteric thought and has fascinated alchemists, philosophers, and mystics for centuries, which is a couple of people that I didn't really want to hang out with. Mystics, philosophers, and alchemists.
Well,
alchemists might be cool.
Well, alchemy, you don't like philosophers, but alchemy's I find fast.
So in this story, the person that we talked about in a previous episode, Madame Blavatsky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so she's a part of this story. She comes up.
Okay.
So you can see where we're going with this. A bunch of lies, if you might want to say that.
We brought her up in the guy that lived like forever.
Oh, yeah, we brought up with that. And the town, the city under the Himalayas.
Oh, that's right. Yes. Yeah.
So we're going to talk about the Emerald Tablet. The tablet has inspired countless interpretations, and we're going to go over, there's a lot, this thing goes back a ways, supposedly. The story blends science, spirituality, and metaphysics, which we've talked about in the past. Metaphysics, I don't understand. So while its origins and meaning remain shrouded in mystery, its influence on alchemy, traditions of alchemy, the history of alchemy, and Hermeticism. So the Emerald Tablet is traditionally attributed to Hermes Trismegistus, the legendary figure. Whether he actually existed as part of this conversation, he is equated to the Egyptian god Thoth and the Greek god Hermes, almost like a combination of them. And this goes back to the whole story of Greeks and Egypt and stuff we'll get into.
He just made his name up.
Maybe he's not even real. We don't know. Hermes Trismegistus, meaning Hermes the thrice great, is regarded as a mythical founder of Hermeticism, which is a philosophical and spiritual tradition focused on the pursuit of divine wisdom. There was a lot of branches in this story because, like, one thing means something, one thing means two other things, which mean three other things, which it's like so crazy. All the different like steps and branches and roots and all this crap. It's crazy. Which is why it took me a while to figure this whole story out. And still, I'm not sure I really understand it.
A lot of religions are like that too.
What are you trying to say?
Different sects.
Different what?
Sects. S-E-C-T.
I want to join that religion. So the exact origins of the Emerald Tablet are difficult to pinpoint. Some accounts trace it to ancient Egypt, where it's said to have been discovered in a secret chamber beneath the Great Pyramid of Giza, or the tomb of Hermes himself. Others suggest Mesopotamian or Alexandrian provenance. So people really don't even know where this came from. or if it actually existed, which we'll talk about. The earliest references to the text appear in Arabic translations with medieval scholars who play a pivotal role in transmitting the text to Islamic and later European world. So it's like translations of translations, translated again, multiple times over. I think the one thing is that this like story has been written down so many times in different languages, Latin, Arabic, and it's really like, we'll talk about some dates here in a second, but like this is supposedly extremely old and it's been recorded many times over. So first, let's talk about who Hermes Trismegistus is. As I said, he is a central figure in the mystical tradition of Hermeticism. His name means Hermes the Thrice Great, signifying his unparalleled mastery in 3 key disciplines: alchemy, astrology, and theurgy. Theurgy is Greek. It's known as divine magic, is one of 2 major branches of magical arts. Okay, so we're already getting into some crazy territory here.
Cuckoo.
Hermes is often depicted as a synthesis of Egyptian god Thoth, which is the god of wisdom, writing, and magic, and the Greek god Hermes, which is the messenger of the god and the guide of souls. He is credited with authoring a series of sacred texts known as the Hermetica, which included works on philosophy, mysticism, and natural sciences. So these writings that he wrote, supposedly, emphasize themes like unity of the cosmos, divine nature of humanity, and the pursuit of spiritual enlightenment. Though, here's the big thing, is its historical existence is debated. He has become a symbol of ancient wisdom and esoteric knowledge, and he influences the fields such as alchemy, Renaissance philosophy, and another one called Gnosticism.
I think, didn't Isaac Newton have something to do with them?
Yeah, better bet your butt on that one.
Which is kind of impressive because, like, it's Isaac Newton.
He is
considered, like, this whole thing's considered like a pseudoscience now, but like the fact that like Isaac Newton.
So we'll get into what Isaac Newton did. He actually translated some of his work.
Okay.
It was actually one of the first that translated it to Latin, I want to say. We'll get into that, but it's coming up. Hermes is also associated with this thing called the Emerald Tablet, which is the foundational text in alchemy and hermetic thought. You might be asking, what the hell is alchemy? Jordan, what is alchemy?
It's cool is what it is. So
do you have any idea?
I kind of do. It's the idea of using science. I know it's like consider pseudoscience, but like the idea of understanding natural law and like science and like the ability to create something not from nothing, but there's something scientific there.
Sure, science is mentioned in some point. Yeah. It is really more complicated than like you would be led to believe of like when modern culture talks about alchemy. Most of the time they talk about it in like the, ridiculous anime or some kind of, silly movie about, something that you wouldn't think would actually be, or video game. Like,
yeah.
It basically the concept in modern science.
Is it like an occult kind of thing? Like a precursor to like chemistry almost? Like
it's a precursor to
understanding what matter is and stuff like that.
So they say that it is it's dismissed as pseudoscience today, but it laid the groundwork for chemistry.
Okay. All right.
So the way that we understand chemistry today kind of goes back to like what alchemists were doing. And the theory behind alchemy is rooted in the idea of transformation. So the basic idea is that you can take something. Basically, alchemy seeks to understand and manipulate the fundamental principles of matter and the universe, achieve specific goals such as transmutation of metals, which is probably what you heard it doing, where you believe that the idea was alchemists believe that all metals are part of a natural progression towards perfection, with gold being the most perfect metal. So through the process, they're able to transmute, which turn into a base metal like lead into gold. That's what you probably hear it the most, is like turning lead into gold.
Yeah, so that was a big thing with the one episode I did on Count Saint Germain. Like, he apparently was this like master alchemist, lived forever, able to like crappy metals into gold and precious metal.
Right. That's a big thing with this guy is or with this whole story is it seems like back a long time ago, and we're talking get into that in a second, but
I mean, this is considered different than like magic or like people had a somewhat of a basis in science. It wasn't just like you say this incantation, but like these people actually believe it like by studying matter, understanding matter, like that transform matter into something totally different. When I say the spell, it was like a forerunner, like you said, to chemistry, but a step from like weird, like step in between people believe of like witchcraft, superstition, stuff like that, or actual like science. I think it was a actual legit field of study for like,
the earliest kind of signs of it that they have records of it is the late 8th and early 9th century is whenever the Emerald Tablet comes into the story.
yeah.
Alchemy is older than that, I believe. But anyway, let's jump into this again. Let's get back to the story here of Hermes. Let's get back to the story of alchemy. So alchemy generally has a couple of different specific goals, which was transmutation of metals, turning lead into gold or anything into gold, basically. Goes back to money, as everything else does. The Philosopher's Stone, which is a creation of a mythical substance capable of not only transmuting metals into gold, but also granting immortality and healing powers. So the stone was seen as a symbol of ultimate knowledge and perfection in alchemy. There's also a side of alchemy that is based on not only physical but spiritual. So spiritual alchemy is part of this, basically transformation of the soul. And then the last step of the last goal of alchemy is the unity of the cosmos. It's basically the idea here is that everything's interconnected, and this goes back to the as above, so below. So, as I said before, and Jordan mentioned this, alchemy is dismissed as a pseudoscience, but it laid the groundwork for chemistry. And it's all really, still to this day, supposedly is a part of esoteric philosophy and mysticism. One would think, like, what was going on in history that would lead to alchemy, and then the Emerald Tablet, and what we're going to talk about today. The belief in alchemy flourished in eras where knowledge of the world, the natural world, was limited, and scientific methodologies were nascent. So people were not heavily investigating the natural world, but they wanted to know more. So people accepted hidden forces or divine principles governed by nature, and alchemy appeared to offer a way to uncover and harness these forces. And that's where the Emerald Tablet comes in.
Okay, that's what I was saying earlier. Like it's weird line of like science. People were like, oh, very superstitious.
Right.
Witchcraft is a thing, sorcery's a thing, but then like alchemy kind of comes around that kind of combines that along with actual like scientific thought.
Yes.
To a degree, like understanding minerals, matter, kind of like that weird like middle section.
Where eventually people get there.
Yeah.
Scientists got
right.
there.
People, like you said, people are trying to understand the natural order of things before they're like, oh, it's just the devil playing tricks on us. It's like, it's the way these things are. That's the way God is. But like,
why
like,
does the wind blow?
Yeah, there's got to be something more there. Like there's more thought put into it.
Why is gold more prevalent in this region than the other region?
Right.
It's like why are these people finding lead and these people are finding gold when they dig down? Or like, why does I imagine like even when you think about like biology and like how people tried to heal each other, back then. So texts like the Emerald Tablet, knowing all this, texts like the Emerald Tablet and teaching attributed to figures like Hermes Trismegistus, we kind of understand where people are coming from now, where like the Emerald Tablet could have been real because it was this kind of well-known person who is known as Hermes, who maybe called himself that, if he was real, if he wasn't real, but like it kind of legitimized it because they were taking these alchemy, taking the concept of alchemy that are being attributed to like wisdom and spirituality, and taking a person that's supposedly his name is Hermes Trismegistus, meaning someone that is spiritually connected. Like he's like, oh, this is a mythical person who wrote this thing about alchemy, and therefore it's legitimizing it for the people of that day. So probably the smartest people in the world at that time believed this because this guy named Hermes, who has the name of a Greek god and is connected to this Egyptian god, is writing it down, and it's some magical work, and he did it. And alchemists often use cryptic symbols and allegories to protect the knowledge, creating that aura of exclusivity and intrigue, which makes people believe others are powerful. Kind of that esoteric wisdom, knowledge type of thing that we see in a lot of mysteries, especially when it comes to esoteric things.
Yeah.
So, okay, so let's go into the Emerald Tablets text. Composed of 12 to 14 lines, depending on the translation. And again, this has been translated lots of times, including once by, or it was translated and commented on by Sir Isaac Newton. And his
tablet may have been written either
9th or 10th century, supposedly. 10th. The original.
Okay, and Isaac Newton around 17th and 18th centuries. That's pretty.
He died in 1726 or 27.
It's pretty impressive that like it's still being
discussed and translated.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
One things he did was he translated it to English from Latin. And there was actually, they found a translation of it among his work in Cambridge, or King's College Library in Cambridge. They found like this translation of the Emerald Tablet.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so this is what it says based on translations. It is true, without falsehood, certain and most true, that which is below is like that which is above, and that which is above is like that which is below, to accomplish the miracles of one thing. And as all things have been and arose from one by the meditation of one, so all things have their birth from this one thing by adaptation. Its father is the sun, its mother the moon, the wind carries it in its belly, its nurse is the earth. It is the origin of all and the consecration of the universe. Its inherent strength is perfected when it is turned into earth. Separate the earth from the fire, the subtle from the gross, gently, and the great ingenuity. It rises from earth to heaven and descends again to earth, thereby combining within itself the powers of both the above and the below. Thus you will obtain the glory of the whole universe. All obscurity will be clear to you. This is the strong force of all forces, for it overcomes every subtle thing and penetrates every solid thing. Thus was the world created. From this are and do come admirable adaptations, whereof the means or process is here in this. Therefore am I called Hermes Trismegistus, having 3 parts of the philosophy of the whole world. What I've said concerning this operation of the sun is accomplished and ended.
That sounds full of himself.
Yep. But
what exactly is he saying there? He understands how.
So basically, what is, I guess, kind of the common thought on this is it's densely packed with metaphorical language, blending alchemy, cosmology of the time, and spiritual symbolism. So basically, this is trying, from what I get looking at people's, how analysis from different people here and there, is that this tablet is trying to explain how the universe, spiritualism, and I'm going to say like the ground or the earth or the planet are connected, because it's like alchemy, I'd imagine, is like how you take the things and turn it into other things physically on earth.
It also seems like there's some creationism.
Because spiritualism is a part of this.
Yep.
It's like a combination of those 3 things, which is what Trismegistus stands for. Or means, is the thrice king. Alchemy, cosmology, symbolism. Or spirituality. What are you thinking so far of this thing? Was it real? Not? Is this guy or person real?
I don't necessarily think this guy was real, as far as like the accurate dating of this thing either, but I do like the idea of message that like passage you read, like interconnectedness between us and the universe. And it's pretty cool. I was thinking alchemy's cool. Anything about that, I'm not totally interested in. This Hermes,
Trismegistus.
yeah, I don't know if it's an actual real person. This could have been like a made up person that
A group at making up an.
not necessarily that, but like, yeah, I mean, or yeah, even maybe that, like maybe someone just like had an idea and like a pen name kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
Maybe like a group, like you said, a group thought have these like the shared ideas and like we're gonna put it under this guy's name because
Pen name. Yeah.
yeah, pen name, like make this pen name because it's the name of two different gods and make it sound like we're smart.
Yeah. If you give it the name of gods, it can make you sound legitimate.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. As far as being a real person who wrote this, I don't think that's the case. I don't think there was groundwork for stuff like this being said back when this possibly was originally written, but I don't believe it. What do you think?
I think it is. As for like the actual writing, I don't know if it's actually a. I wonder where it came from, but
Yeah.
that would kind of answer the question on what it is.
I think it is interesting that they say the creation of the universe coming from a single source
Why? Because the idea of a god or multiple
or
gods,
singular god.
Hermeticism.
Yeah, has bases in like Greek.
Yes.
Yeah, when that they were polytheistic, so they believe in multiple gods. They had like a pantheon.
Same with the Egyptians, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that too. Yeah. So like the idea they're like saying, hey, there might be one single source that created all of this. I think it's kind of neat. They're like, hey, there's one thing out there that might have created all this. Not saying necessarily it's a god or the god, Christian god or Arabic god or anything like that.
I guess it's also known that he's a syncretic figure. So it's which is like syncretism. Syncretism is the practice of combining different beliefs and various schools of thought.
Okay.
So it involves the merging and assimilation of several originally discrete traditions. So maybe this was like one of those things where they're combining,
Cherry picking stuff.
Greek and Egyptian thoughts.
Definitely, yeah.
And then maybe even trying to like bring it into a single, because wasn't some point both these societies trying to follow one god? So they were trying to like a way of doing that.
Yeah.
So it seems like Hermeticism is just that. It's like tradition, which it's bringing together.
Right.
It influences very mystical and occult. So maybe it started like that way, and then it like kind of spread out, going more occult.
Yeah, definitely understandable too, because like there's Arabic influences in this, and there's European influences, and like they were Constantinople, Istanbul. There's a very European Arabic influenced area. I'm assuming thoughts or ideas are being passed through, because they're closely together, linked for a very long time. That like kind of taking ideas from each culture and be like, hey, this sounds good. This sounds good.
Yeah, because it looks like I guess
like one thing.
The Hermetica was like a combination of the works, and it spanned. I guess it was originally produced from 300 BCE to 1200 CE.
Jeez. Okay. All right.
So that's the Hermetica, which looks like the Emerald Tablet comes from that,
yes.
But we don't know if the Emerald Tablet is really real, or maybe it was cherry picked. And why is that the thing that's like the esoteric thought of this whole situation? So here's the historical timeline, which we kind of just talked about briefly. But the Emerald Tablet first gained prominence in the Islamic Golden Age, where the scholars incorporated its teachings into their works on alchemy and natural philosophy. It was included in Arabic alchemy teachings, such as the Book of the Secret of Creation. Sounds awesome.
The Book of the Secret of Creation.
Yeah, that's what it's the Book of the Secret of Creation. Islamic interpretations often emphasize the spiritual dimensions of alchemy, framing it as a means of understanding God's creations. Makes sense. Trying to take something from prior and then trying to mold it to make sense, the teachings of the tablets, to make it.
Understanding the world and
spirituality.
Yeah.
The text reached medieval Europe via Latin translations through the 12th century translation by Gerald of Cremonia, who rendered it from Arabic into Latin. It became the foundational text for European alchemists like Albertus Magnus, Roger Bacon, and others. Medieval alchemists interpreted the tablet both literally and metaphorically. So I think medieval alchemy is like the thing you probably hear about the most.
Yeah.
Like the thing that's in modern culture, popular culture.
So it's interesting you brought up like all these translations that happen, because when you're reading the Isaac Newton translation, also reading the Isaac translation as going through that, and like it's same but not the same. The wording's a little bit different. And it's interesting that like something gets translated so many different times. Apparently was. Some things might get lost, or some things might get good
or reworded.
Reworded, yeah.
Just because like things written down so many times over time, and it's like we think of it like a long time ago, but like translating something that's like 100 years old.
Yeah.
And then like 100 years later after that, translating again, like things don't stay, like paper doesn't stay, or the type of things they were writing on.
No, that's almost like a game of like that telephone. Like you say something in someone's ear, they say that, go back around the last person and say, see what they say. Because like someone starts off saying something silly, keeps getting passed on to the next person, whisper in their ear, and then like last person has to say aloud what they last heard, and then like it could be totally different.
Well, we've said that. We've seen that in a lot of things, like the was it the year the moon split in two?
Oh yeah, yeah.
When it's like, guy saw something, and then like 1,000 years later, there's different stories that are like, oh, God went up there and cut it in half with his sword or something like that.
Right. With the Bible, different translations of that. We won't go into that, but
a part of this goes into goes back all the way to the book of Enoch, or Enoch.
Okay.
Like this, like that's the reason why this we can't get too crazy on like the branching paths on this story, because
gotta be careful.
Well, like Enoch, which we may talk about someday, story is someone from the Bible who lived for 340 years and then was taken up to heaven. That's a story in like Genesis, I think. So, and he was a figure, in the Bible. I think like in Moses, like he was like Moses' father, or something to do with Moses. I can't remember the exact story of Enoch, but he was a very early person mentioned in the Bible.
So apparently he was pre-Noah's flood.
Right. Yeah, he has something to do with Noah. I think he was like, some even say he might have been Noah's father or Noah's grandfather or something.
Father Methuselah.
Because he was also taken,
taken by God.
Okay, so we talked about Europe. Medieval Europe is whenever I think we probably know of alchemy as like being the thing. On a literal level, it was seen as a practical guide for chemical transmutations. So it's when we start getting in medieval Europe is whenever we start getting into like into the Renaissance is when we start getting into like, oh, chemistry. Like here's the actual science behind it, people. So in the Renaissance, we have the Hermetic tradition experienced a revival, and the Emerald Tablet became a central esoteric and occult thought. So people started looking back into all of history and started looking at those things. We're like, hey, how can we actually make alchemy work? And that's whenever we have this rise of like chemistry, the thought or the science of chemistry started coming out of it.
Okay.
In the Enlightenment era, the tablet's influence waned as alchemy fell out of favor However, it persisted in occult traditions such as Rosicrucianism and Freemasonry. So now we get into this other.
Oh boy!
It gets pulled into the esoteric occult side of things in the Renaissance, because that's when people start learning about chemistry. It's realizing that what it was talking about, its teachings didn't have any merit, the actual science. But then it gets pulled into the other side of things. In the 19th and 20th centuries, the Emerald Tablet gained attention through the works of occultists like Madame Blavatsky. She founded Theosophy, we talked about in the past, and the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Psychologist Carl Jung, which we also talked about in the episode about the town under the Himalayas, which I keep on forgetting the name of. The Golden Dawn, the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, was a secret society devoted to the study and the practice of occult hermeticism and metaphysics during the 19th and 20th century. So we have all this thing about this tablet. It seems like we're going to go into some theories here, but it seems like the tablet, the Emerald Tablet it was impossible to make any of this real. Like its teachings, it's impossible to prove any of it, but it's also written in a way that it's as that like spirituality type of thing where it's like, oh, that's the inner, people experience it differently on the inside, or you can't prove it because we can't see it, doesn't mean it doesn't exist, that type of thing.
Yeah.
But none of this stuff, none of the alchemy things that they said could have happened. But it has that linchpin thing of like, well, if we just had the Philosopher's Stone, we can make this all work. And you wonder, like,
if we kill enough people and bleed them out and take their souls.
But think back how long ago, we have, okay, I'm going to make a weird connection here. We have a lot of technology companies that get a lot of funding because they're going to invent the new AI or the new social media thing, the new this, the new whatever it is, and that they explode with like all this funding, and then they crash because after a year or two, because what they were doing was not possible, or maybe they weren't able to make it work. We've seen this with robotic companies, like anything in the tech field. This is like kind of the tech field. Silicon Valley works.
Yeah.
We have like someone that says, I can do this thing, give me lots of money. And if you say the word AI enough in this day and age, you can get a ton of money probably to make something work. And as we've seen, a few actually succeed, tons fail. And that's I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm saying that's how technology works. Think about back in 9th century, 10th century, 11th century, when this thing was big or was the coolest thing. How many alchemy entrepreneurs started up, get funding, like
snake oil guys?
Yeah, like I'm going to transmute gold, and I have the newest way ever. I'm going to do this and this differently. That's why no one else can do it this way, because I have this knowledge. And like how many people probably did that and had this like business and then crashed? But obviously that was probably such a thing for thousands, hundreds of years, I would say.
Yeah.
Where you had these guys, like you could see it now in like modern technology. Almost.
Yeah.
In the industrial things.
Yeah. I know how to deal with this. We're picking up a key word that people like, a buzzword, and just focus on that. Milk everyone for their money.
I wonder if we can train AI. My new AI, I'm going to announce it right now. You guys can fund us. Alchemy AI. It's going to be turning literal nothing into gold. It's going to be great.
Gold. There you go. Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be literally turning computer software into gold. And we see that a lot. It's, crypto. We see that with, what was all those, what the heck was it called? Where the blockchain, where you get a picture. What the hell was that called?
NFTs.
Like we've seen this so many times.
What a scam that was.
Cell phone, but like even cell phones. Like how many cell phone companies there were? How many smartphone companies there were? And then it all kind of boils down like how many internet bubble, like that whole .com bubble and the different bubbles we've had in technology fields. But the one thing that is true with a lot of the stuff in occult and esoteric realms is that its cryptic language invites interpretation, making it relevant to diverse disciplines and philosophies, but it's impossible to like actually manifest something.
Right.
Because like you just need one thing.
Right. And I think from what we talked about, we said too, like nothing seems very specific, right? It just seems very like broad. That way, if someone's like, well,
you're interpreting
something about
wrong.
like, yeah, you're interpreting wrong. You don't understand. You're not one of us.
You don't understand it. That's what esoteric is.
Yeah. there's specifics, fine bullet points of like this is this more broad scope, painting with a brush kind of thing. General. If you sort of argue against that, someone can easily be like, "Well, reading it wrong.
Yes.
You're reading too much into it.
You didn't understand it. You just don't understand.
Yeah, you're not one of us. You're not one of the enlightened people."
You listen to an album and you're like especially in high school, this always happened. Like, yeah, man, I think it sucks. And like people are like, you just don't get it. You don't get his meanings. I see that now with kids, like high school age kids being like, you don't understand Nirvana Nevermind on the deeper levels that it stood for. You just don't get it. What heart-shaped box is about. I'm like, shut up.
You weren't even alive. What are you talking about?
It's so dumb. Shut up. It doesn't matter. It's literally a song to make money.
Yeah.
That's just how it goes. Heart-shaped box is amazing. Or comments.
You understand the meaning behind who let the dogs out, the Macarena.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you go into like these kind of like music is the big thing now with, when it comes to like art, music and art. Hey, we got a whole podcast about movies where I don't understand any of that damn crap. So go listen to the Watch Pals at watchpals.show. Yeah. Okay. Let's go into some theories and then we'll wrap this crap up and get the hell out of here. Maybe go watch a movie or two. Probably not. So the Emerald Tablet has been fascination for centuries, as we just went over. Its cryptic nature and claims of profound wisdom are like what drive people to want to understand it. So let's go. There's a few things. I wanted to just try and understand what the hell its purpose was and why people propped it up as some magical thing.
Yeah.
What I want to start with is why people believed in the Emerald Tablets. Like, why did people think it was real? And one of the things that I can kind of point to, or kind of, where the research says is like, it's people believe the Emerald Tablet was real because its divine origin. They thought it was from a divine being.
Sure. Because
it was from this Hermes Trismegistus, which is this mythical figure that is equated to divine wisdom because he was a combination of these two gods from different cultures, and so it had to be real. It had to be given from the gods, especially gods that are starting to work together too.
Yeah, and that, I think I'll say this right now: I don't know this guy ever existed, but the fact that for some of these people, like in later centuries, like you think probably were drawn to what he or these people or this person or this, they're probably easily drawn to the ideas he was spitting out. Even though like the learned people are like, oh, like when science became more of a thing and mathematics, they're like, maybe like there's probably something here.
Yeah. Or they can combine it with other teachings of the time.
Yes. Yeah. Right.
So this mystical narrative surrounding the tablet includes claims that it was discovered in a sacred context. That's the other thing here. Because there was the stories of where it was found, suggest it was found in the secret chamber beneath the Great Pyramid of Giza, within the tomb of Hermes himself. And other accounts of text are said to have been inscribed on emerald or green crystal by divine hands, lending it to an aura of celestial craftsmanship. And that the stories around the tablet frame it not as a human artifact, but as a gift from the gods, containing secrets of the cosmos and also of life and creation. So it's the divine stories that this thing brought with it, made it a thing that people believed in.
Yeah, that much more alluring to people.
Right.
Oh, came from the gods, so there's got to be some truth to it.
Yeah,
the fact that it was like this was written in the antiquity by the Middle Ages into the Renaissance. One of the scientific revolutions are right, like Isaac Newton was part of it.
Well, you mean the Enlightenment, like the Renaissance?
Yeah. Then like there's the Enlightenment and the Renaissance. Yeah,
Renaissance started in the started. People say that the Johann Gutenberg, the ability to write and print things very cheaply, was the thing that made the Renaissance start. So it was still like probably a couple I don't know, maybe 100 years after that when things start popping off. I'd imagine.
Survive this. There's something that survived that long. Impressive.
So when we looked at this story, like when I looked at this story, I wanted to know like why the hell would people believe this thing, but also like how it got through history, like how it got from
right.
Even some say like Hermeticism was from 300 BCE to 1200 CE, and then we have this thing which is, I guess, supposedly was translated in Arabic in the 9th or 10th century. So it had all this time.
It's not like the internet where it's just like once it's out there, it's out there. Like people had to like keep finding this and be like, oh, this clearly there's something here for us to keep translating it, keep rewriting it, translating it for generations, centuries, reading it.
Yeah, it's not like they're pulling out their notebook and writing this stuff down either, or taking a picture of it.
Yeah, so clearly there's something here that fascinated people.
And they kept copying it.
Yes, keep translating, copying it.
Copying it, and it's not even easy to, especially in the 9th, 10th century, it wasn't easy to copy things, right? It wasn't like...
You had to find someone to like who had the talent to, one, translate it, and two, whose sole job was to write it down. And that had to survive.
Right, and then been copied multiple times over.
Yes. There's something here. I do think there's something here that, whether it's like true or not, I'm not going to say that. I don't believe it, but like there's something here that fascinated people.
That's like this video lasting, hundreds of years, and people being like, what were these two jackasses talking about here? Mysticism.
It's out, but like it's out there now, so like anyone can find it. But like that back then, you had to like get us look for this.
I mean, there's people traveling across major distances.
Yes, you had to show interest in this. There had to be something there that like it had to be something in people for generations.
Like the way it spread, even just like had to been taken across vast distances on countries, with traders and stuff,
cultures, religions. Like there's something there that I think literally excited people and fascinated people.
It had to have been given to the right person to then push the message.
Right.
Multiple times over.
Like you have Isaac Newton talking about it. Crazy.
Yeah.
Hundreds of years later.
Okay, so it seems that's the first theory, that it was had this quote divine origins, and that's what made people respect it or want to know about it or believe it. The next theory is that it's associated with ancient wisdom. Not necessarily like spiritual, like divine wisdom, just ancient wisdom. So is often regarded as an artifact of ancient, almost primordial. What did I say that? Primordial? Yeah, wisdom. Real? Thank you. During the medieval and Renaissance periods, the idea of ancient civilizations holding secret superior knowledge was widely accepted. Supposed link between the tablet and ancient Egypt, a civilization renowned for its advanced architecture, mathematics, and spirituality, bolstered its credibility. The Hermetic tradition, in particular, positioned the Emerald Tablet as a cornerstone of its teachings. Hermeticism itself claimed to preserve the esoteric knowledge of ancient Egypt and Greece, passing it through secretive, mystical channels. The narrative aligned with broader cultural reverence for antiquity during the periods like the Renaissance, when scholars sought to revive lost wisdom from ancient texts. So,
I mean, there was a lot of that in Renaissance. Hey, look at the architecture, the art. Look the.
Do you think it was people, like all of a sudden, lots of people started learning how to read, and they're like, because before the Renaissance, I mean, that was really when reading started to take off. Only rich people could read, and so we have this explosion in right after the Renaissance when people started being like, "Hey, it's actually we can copy books and make so then people could start learning to read." Because prior to that, like that's why Christianity blew up so much in that time. Prior to that, during the Middle Ages.
Yeah, a lot of people couldn't read, so like that's why like stained glass windows in churches are so popular, because who can actually read? But like they show the depictions of stories in the Bible and
what they would go listen to when the priest would read them.
Yeah,
and on Sunday, and then they would know those stories from the Bible.
Right,
be a better person or whatever it would be.
Yeah, so I think the boom of the availability of books, the Gutenberg printing press stuff, people actually learning to read. But also, like the Renaissance was like this. The idea was like, hey, kind of confliction, because like I don't like that's called the Middle Ages. Biased because of that, because like, hey, like look how it's basically one guy. I can't remember. I'm not gonna say his name because I don't like him. I actually can't remember it. But he said like coined the term, I think, the Middle Ages, because he was looking at the Greco-Roman period and like Oh, look how wonderful it was back then. Education, arts flourished. He's like, why we missed that for the past hundreds of years. So there was a push for that again too, like that romanticizing of the Greco-Roman period, philosophy, arts probably helped push this.
A lot of people didn't like to be called the Dark Ages.
The
Middle Ages were fine.
Definitely the Dark Ages.
What about the medieval? What is that? Is that the same thing?
Medieval is just Latin for Middle Ages.
Okay, cool. Yeah. All right, we'll learn
but
something.
The idea is, sorry, he's the one that coined the term Dark Ages, I think, or I can't remember.
I think you've corrected me saying you got to call it the Middle Ages, not the Dark Ages, you dork. I'm like, okay, sir.
Well, that's what it's called, but it's called Middle Ages. Like it's like you're the middle of what? Like you're saying something before and after was better. I don't like that.
So you just have a time whenever, but you have to have. I guess it's just coming up with a name for that area.
Better name, yeah. Like night castle, night people time.
More like the Rad Ages.
There were dark periods during that. Don't get me wrong.
But wasn't the
Dark Ages?
Isn't the bubonic plague in that time?
Yes, but it wasn't the whole time, Chris.
Okay, just most of it. I don't know.
Keep going.
It wasn't the worst time of human history, like in that time, like with that episode we did on it.
We did talk about that. Yes, it's definitely up there.
So like all those the worst years of human history were was in that time.
There's a good.
Yes, it sounds like the Dark Ages is better than calling it the Middle Ages.
Actually, the Dark Ages sounds kind of cool.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'd rather be called
dark. But the meaning behind it
middle.
is thingamist.
The Sick Ages.
Sickly.
Yeah, that'd be cool. The Plague Ages. Anyway,
the boob ages.
The bubonic. The booby ages. Okay, so again, it's associated with ancient wisdom, specifically Greek and Egypt. So then all of a sudden they were like, hey, Renaissance, they were like, hey, those people were pretty smart back there. That's probably why you got the Sick Ages in there, you know? Number 3 is the claims of alchemic mastery. So the Emerald's tablets, cryptic language, and emphasis on transformation made it essential in the text in the study of alchemy. Many believe the tablet contained the secret of creating the Philosopher's Stone, which is, again, the mythical substance capable of transmuting base metals into gold and granting eternal life at the same time. These practical and spiritual promises aligned with the aspirations of alchemists who sought both material wealth and inner purification. The key phrases from the tablets such as separate the earth from the fire and it rises from earth to heaven were interpreted as step-by-step instructions for alchemic operations. Alchemists in the Arabic studies and later European figures, such as Roger Bacon, considered the tablet as a legitimate source of technical guidance. Furthermore, reports of alchemic success by historical figures lent credibility to the tablet's power. Claims of transmutation and miraculous discoveries were often tied to the Hermetic principles, suggesting the tablet's teachings were tangible, magical results. In an era when science, spirituality, and mysticism were deeply intertwined, such claims were not easily dismissed. Do you think there was like actual colleges where people went to school to become alchemists?
Oh.
Like, do you think people actually went to, like, quote, went to school? When we say went to school, maybe they went to, like, become, like, a, journeyman or whatever it's called whenever you go work with someone in the trades. Like, was alchemy, like, a trade?
Oh.
So, like, if you could be like, when I grow up, Dad, I want to be an alchemist like you. And he's like, yeah, you will, son.
They're a taboo thing, but I know it was, like, a prominent thing. But I don't know if people were, like, looking down upon it. But back then, everyone was like, oh, I'm a poet, a philosopher.
Like back in like the 9th and 10th century, 11th century, 12th century. But I mean, think about like college now, it's like most of these degrees don't really do anything for you, quote. So as someone who has 4 useless degrees.
No, I know all about that.
So like if you think about it, like, someone might be like, yeah, teaching degree. People went out and got degrees to be teachers. Can you imagine that crap? What the hell? So it's like, the reason why people believe this was because it supposedly told you how to be an alchemist or be a successful alchemist.
But also, like, I know it might sound kind of odd to us now, but back then, might not have been that odd, like, that people believe that, because what was the one, oh my.
Are you saying because the Bible? Is that what you're saying is your defense here?
No.
Internet.
Oh, wait, when I did the episode about it was a dancing plague?
Yeah.
There's that belief that, like, the body had the 4 humors. That's what it was, 4 humors.
Oh, yeah.
There's the 4 bodily fluids that affected people's behavior, health, and their, like, physical well-being or something like that. And they were like,
got the poison in you.
Like, their blood was one of them. Yellow, like, the bile was black bile and phlegm.
Yeah,
remember
yellow
that?
bile.
Yeah, that was like, that's what, like, people thought at the time, like, science-wise. So, like, it's not that far-fetched to think that, like, people might actually believe in alchemy.
You're not, like, you think there were, like, people walking around and be like, oh, the alchemist master's here. He can actually do alchemy. He's actually been done it once.
I mean, that people thought about it, Count Saint Germain, like,
yeah, like
he's lived forever. Like, he must have mastered the art of alchemy and created the Philosopher's Stone. Like, people actually believe that. So I don't know if, like, that was a school that people, like, go to learn, like Hogwarts kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know.
You're trying to say. So first you besmirched the Bible, and now you're besmirching Hogwarts. Get him, internet. Get him.
Attack.
Angry.
Dox him. That's the whole thing. People say it's still dox him.
Oh yeah. Oh boy.
Oh,
Mama sure do. Okay. Number 4. My last. I mean, there's lots of them out there. I just kind of picked the 4 that I thought were the most interesting. So, yeah, esoteric SOBs.
Esoteric.
I want to get that, like, on a leather jacket and ride a motorcycle around.
But not a motorcycle, you're just riding like a scooter.
Yeah, but it's powered by alchemism. I'll say that it's powered by spirituals. My spirituality powers this e-scooter.
They have a coexist bumper sticker.
Yeah.
The back.
Except it has, like, alchemy symbols. Anyway, it's like coexist, but has, like, all the symbols for different metals.
There you go.
We got to make a sticker for that. Oh, I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know how we do that, but let's do it. Anyway, last one, symbolic universality. Big word. Universal principles articulated in the Emerald Tablet also contributed to its perceived authenticity and magical nature. Its famous line, as above, so below, resonated with a diverse population. The tablet seemed to express truths that transcend cultural and temporal boundaries, reinforcing the idea that it contains timeless wisdom. So this universality extended beyond spirituality into natural philosophy, which sought to understand the cosmos through a unified framework. The Emerald Tablet descriptions of cosmic unity, elemental harmony, and transformation aligned with broader scientific and metaphysical inquiries at the time. By offering a synthesis of ideas, the tablet appeared to bridge the physical and spiritual worlds, making it a source of wonder and reverence. Okay, so what this is trying to say is, because its message was really nice, it had to be true.
Because the TLDR, his message is really nice. So
it's really cool and
it's super neat.
Super neat, and we all love each other. Positive.
Super positive.
Sending vibes to you. Sending vibes.
Positive vibes.
Positive hums to you. And that's why people are like, this has to be true, right?
Good for them.
You got it. What do you think there?
Definitely not that one.
Esoteric SOBs riding down your street, coming for you.
Esoteric SOBs for life.
Yeah. Do you think the universality of its message and that it transcended boundaries of spirituality at the time, like bringing together the different religions?
100%, yeah. Because like there's Arabic influences there, Hellenistic, like the Greek influences, and then there's something there, like something appealing there. that we're all come from the same thing. I think is interesting. Playing with that, all derived from this singular thing that I think is important there too. It's kind of ahead of its time, but also seems too broad of a thing. You can't, like we said earlier, you can't really argue against it. You can't like be like,
right.
You said this here.
You can't prove it's not true.
Right.
Because if you can say it's not true, they can say, well, it's all spiritual.
Yeah.
Did you think this thing was real?
This tablet itself?
Yeah.
I do, yeah. I don't think it was written by Hermes. I do think it was probably.
Yeah.
The meaning of it, like the deeper meaning of it, if anything, I think could have been lost in translation. It could have been like, I think it's possibly a real thing.
I think the message was broad enough that it's easy to defend as real, and one of those things where you just don't know how to do it or you're not worthy. Therefore, it's going to be something that people follow.
Yeah, anything with like mysticism, or you would know if you're one of us.
Right. And if you had
it's just a sham kind of thing.
Yeah. If you knew if it was like in that time, if you had if the right guy was, there might have been 100 other of these kind of messages floating around out there, different tablets. Yes. And this is the one that was like propped up, by the right people and copied by the right people, translated by the right people. And that's just why this one is the one we know of.
I'm sure like, and it very well could have came from like someone or people, like the initial message could have came from something like positive, like trying to do something good. And then like you said, it got into the hands of certain people who propped it up and used it as like a power kind of thing. Like, if you don't understand this, you're not one of us. Like this tool of power.
The esoteric teachings, like the esotericness.
Yes.
Quote, that it was so esoteric that you're just not cool.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You don't understand love-shaped box or heart-shaped box by Nirvana.
But yeah, maybe in that regard, it could have came from someone who genuinely actually believed these things. Not necessarily Hermes, but like that had caught on, became popular.
Do you
used for the wrong reason? Are these mystic people?
Do you think there's someone walking around at the time, going into towns and being like
preaching this stuff?
Yeah, but also polling like, like the sleight of hand to be like, look, I've learned this. Give me money and I'll teach you how to do it. That type of thing.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
I have the emerald tablet.
Yeah. Here's a piece of coal. Here's a piece of gold.
I unlocked the emerald tablet. I can do it. And then that person gives that guy money to get him to heaven or something.
Like a pyramid scheme kind of thing.
Yeah.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. It was definitely going.
Yeah, it's like us with our bumper stickers. All right, Jordan.
Chris.
I'm going to go alchemy something in my
pants.
I was going to say in my kitchen to make some food, but it's cool. That'll probably come later. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you out there. If you were watching us, you want to listen to us, you can do that on any podcast platform of your choice. If you're listening to us, you can watch us on YouTube. Please send us an email if you want to ask a question. Maybe we'll read it on the air.
Yeah, if you are an alchemist, you can do this stuff.
Hell yeah.
No, let us know.
You want to buy a bumper sticker? We'll get
gold
those out
for us.
Yeah. Can turn something into gold for you. If you want to send me some gold, I will turn it into nothing for you. I can do the opposite. I'm really good at the opposite. I'm like
take your gold,
turn it into garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like the what's it called? What's the opposite of a alchemist? Jerk. I don't know.
Jerk.
A thief. I don't know.
A jerk.
Yeah. All right, Jordan. Again, if anybody out there wants to send us an email at mysteriousPalsonline@gmail.com. If anybody wants to find us on social media, all the links are down in the show notes. Thank you to the band Bethlehem, which their link is below if you want to check out their music. that did our intro and outro song. You would like to hear us talk more about dumb stuff, you can follow us at watchpals.show. It's another podcast about movies. Okay, Jordan, again, thank you so much. And thank you, everybody out there.
Thanks, guys and gals.
We will see you next week. Same mysterious time, same mysterious place, same mysterious people, same mysterious pals. Good night.